You know, I never thought it would be such a hot take to say that Cardi B is probably one of the most polarizing artists out there. You see, I've been saying this phrase over and over for the past couple years, that she's the most overhated, overrated artist out there. And you'll get what I mean in a second. But let me just start this video off with a little bit of a story. Me, my dad, and my sibling all went to get frozen yogurt. My dad tells me, hey, I got the new Cardi B album on vinyl. Now, I didn't know he was a Cardi B fan, mainly because the hip hop he listens to is what he grew up with. So this was kind of a surprise to me. Now he tells me he's been seeing a lot of excitement for the brand new Cardi B album, and I looked at him, very perplexed. I mean, I don't doubt Cardi B has her fans. I'm not saying that she's a bad artist. We'll get to that. But to say that a lot of people are hyped over it, I just didn't see any of that. But then the next thing he told me inspired this whole entire video. He tells me, yeah, you know, a lot of people consider Invasion of Privacy a classic. I must have looked like surprised Pikachu himself because I didn't believe any of those words. And then the crazy part is, my sibling agreed with him! And I'm saying all of this is crazy because when I was starting to get into hip hop, a lot of the criticism I would see against Cardi B is that she was very overrated. And now I'm hearing from two separate parties who have two separate music tastes telling me that Invasion of Privacy is considered a classic album. That had me thinking, what is Cardi B's true status in hip hop? And does she truly deserve the title of holding a classic?
Hey, Peggy, let me talk to him one time. Hold up.
No. Alright, jokes aside, I actually think the answer is kind of more complicated than you think, but it's still, to me at least, a no. A very complicated no, but a no nevertheless. To be honest, it was shockingly pretty hard to make this video. In my head, I originally just thought it was just going to be critics talking about how Cardi B is the greatest artist of our generation and fans actually being against that mindset. But as I look a bit deeper into the music, I actually kind of realized that a lot of people do genuinely mess with Cardi B's music. And I'm not even saying that's a necessarily bad thing, but I do find it interesting and it did kind of change my perspective a bit. However, I still do believe that Invasion of Privacy isn't really that much of a classic. I do see why many people do consider it a classic, and I will talk about that in a minute. But first, I kind of want to talk about why people consider it overrated and why so many people hate this album.
And the Grammy goes to Invasion of Privacy, Cardi B.
Cardi B back in 2018 won Rap Album of the Year, which is a very strong accomplishment, no doubt. But on a lot of people's mind, the question really was, did she really deserve that reward? Let's go ahead and just perceive the runner-ups. Travis Scott's Astroworld, which is his third studio album, ended up breaking new ground for Travis in psychedelic trap in general. Daytona, a 7-track, tightly made, Kanye-produced Pusha T album that ended up being one of Pusha T's best records. Finish Line, a strong and well-loved debut from one of rap's at the time freshest voices. And Swimming, which was a very vulnerable and depressing album from Mac Miller, but had that sprinkle of optimism that keeps you going. At least that's what I could find about the album. I still haven't heard it yet, I'm sorry. These are all impactful albums, and who to say that Invasion of Privacy doesn't deserve to be there? But to me, it didn't really have that much of an impact compared to these albums. But I would personally make the opposite argument to these albums. I'm not saying any of these albums are bad at all, but I'm also saying that these albums don't really have the commercial success that Cardi B did. The closest I can say is Astroworld. And it's worth mentioning that this is her first album, and she has hits like Bodak Yellow, I Like It, Moneybag, Party Cardi, I Do. All these songs are still big songs to this day. I'm obviously not saying that this album is better than all these albums because it was commercially successful, but I would still say that the one strength she has against all these albums is the fact that she is so easily replayable. Like, I think average rap fans would get enjoyment out of songs like Drip or Be Careful. Even people who aren't as into the genre will get a lot of enjoyment out of something like I Like It, I Do, or She Bad. Just kidding, that song sucks. If there's one thing I could give Cardi B is that she has that versatility, and that is something that is objectively really impressive. But I guess the question really is, did she really deserve the win out of all? No. No, she didn't. While in retrospect, I can see why exactly she won, as she was one, the most brand friendly out of the category, and two, she definitely had that influence and kind of commercial running that all these other categories didn't. The closest was Astroworld, which was still a big album, but it wasn't as big as Invasion of Privacy.
Objection!
But when I'm talking about my own personal opinion, which this video is my own opinion, so please don't kill me, I do think the album kind of lacks compared to the rest of the categories. Swimming is the only one I haven't heard, so I won't speak on that, but Travis had better hits in my opinion. Daytona was way stronger as an album and way stronger as a piece of art. And Finish Line was just a stronger debut in my opinion. I think numbers wise, Cardi is very impressive, but numbers doesn't always equal quality. And for me, the music is just not for me, and that's fine. But the real conversation comes to the fact that did she really deserve to win that category? And in my opinion, I think the reward should have gone to Astroworld or Daytona. I would have personally gave it to Daytona. But let's move on from the Grammys and talk a bit more about the critics and how they perceive Cardi B in general. This is an article from 7 years ago made by the Sydney Morning Herald that gave it a 5 out of 5. Now I know a lot of people hate on critics, so please note that this is still a subjective piece. So please, let's disagree peacefully. I don't want another minefield. With that being said, that is an opinion.
The Bronx native, best known for her infectious, unscripted personality, doesn't hold back, opening up the album with Get Up 10, an instant hip-hop classic heaving with intensity.
No offense to this article, but I genuinely do not hear anyone talk about Get Up 10 nowadays. Not saying it's bad, but also when you say instant classic, you better make sure that holds weight years later, yet again, I don't hear anyone talk about this intro at all. Let's go ahead and check out the Billboard's Top 100 Rap Albums, where it places at number 29 of all time! Mind you, this is over albums like Marshall Mathers LP, To Pimp a Butterfly, and Jay-Z's The Black Album. Come on, the album isn't even that good! Now, everyone's top 10 albums of all time is going to look very different from others. For example, I would have Love is Rage 2 on my top 10, and I feel absolutely no shame for that. But like, I'm not delusional. I know it's not a better album than the Black Album. Invasion of Privacy is not a better album than the Black Album. It is also worth mentioning that this list isn't just created by one dude. This is a list that's curated by a bunch of people who all gave their own opinions for this. In this case, the person that's credited is HM. It's also worth mentioning that in the beginning of the article, they mentioned that a lot of the placements are because of chart performances since they're billboards. And I think with all of that context included, the placement makes a bit more sense. But still, who would put this on the same level as College Dropout? Come on, man. This is kind of my point with what I mean when I'm talking about Cardi B being kind of overrated. You have an artist who feels mostly pretty average compared to the rest of the game, gets so high of praise to the point where she's put in the same level as some of the best of her peers from that decade. I feel like this is a massive reason why I feel like a lot of people just don't really mess with Cardi B. Let's say I'm constantly talking about a video game. Just off the top of my head, let's say Mind's Eye. I start preaching how Mind's Eye is the greatest game of our generation and how my life has changed because I played Mind's Eye. And then you finally play Mind's Eye and realize, I'm right, this game isn't very good. And now your experience is a little more tampered with because it didn't hit all the expectations I set up for you. That's kind of how I feel like a lot of people view Cardi B. She's an artist who's constantly hyped up as the titan in the industry, and while she definitely has some strengths that I mentioned in this video, she's not nearly as innovative as a lot of critics would put her as to be. But one thing that does irritate me about people who don't like Cardi B's music is that they kind of take it a bit too dramatically. Like, look at a lot of the most popular users' reviews on Album of the Year, and they're just shredding this thing into pieces.
Are music blogs being paid to like this must-hear album? Also, there's no way Rolling Stone think this is better than Good Kid, Mad City, The College Dropout, Yeezus, and a Whole Lot of Red. That's insane! This is garbage!
This is just a personal thing, but I hate it when people say this. You guys do know Rolling Stones isn't just one person, right? For example, yes, Invasion of Privacy and Whole Lot of Red have the same scores. However, they're both reviewed by different people. Like, it's not just one dude reviewing the entire thing. That's Fantano's job.
It's a shame too, because female rap is so hated on because of artists like Cardi B.
Like, what the fuck does that mean? You see, black artists are hated because of people like David. That sounds stupid, right? But that's essentially what he just said. Don't get me wrong, I don't think it's a masterpiece or anything, but I think some of y'all are just being a bit over dramatic. Invasion of Privacy is a perfectly decent album. I'm not saying it's the pinnacle of cinema or anything, but like, it's not that bad. This is just kind of the weird thing with Cardi B in general, where I think it's very unique to her. Where I feel like the critics overly praise the best parts of this album, but people fucking hate the worst parts of this album a bit too much in my opinion. And to me, Cardi B is just a good rapper. I'm just gonna say it, she's a good rapper. I don't think she's the greatest rapper of all time. Hell, I don't even think she's top 100. I don't even think she's top 200. But like, she's popular for a reason, man. She's good at what she does. She makes catchy hits. That's why her music usually does well, even after not dropping an album for 7 years. I wasn't really as into I Am the Drama as much as I was in Invasion of Privacy, which means it went from a 7 to a 5. But I won't lie and say that there's no redeeming qualities from her music. I do have my issues with Am I the Drama, but like, it's still not nearly as bad as people say it is, but also still not nearly as good as many people will try to claim it, aka critics.
Who the fuck just messaged me on Discord when I'm recording? The world has been eager for this album to the point even Young Thug pushed back his new UI Scooty a week out of mutual respect, saying it's a ladies' day.
He did say that, by the way. Album's still ass.
It just kind of feels like she doesn't truly evolve her sound after 7 years, and that's my biggest issue with it. Lacks that true evolution that sophomore albums need in order to stand the test of time, and sadly, I don't think Am I the Drama will be as big as Invasion of Privacy because of that. But doing this video, I've kind of grown more of an appreciation for Cardi B's music. Don't get me wrong, I'm not like a mega fan or anything, but like, I see a lot of people still praising her music and saying that it does deserve love. Not only that, her influence on women's rap can't be ignored, and I think she does a great job in embracing that. Unlike another woman rapper I know, she seems like she does like working with people who are genuinely in her lane. Of course, she doesn't take shit from people, that B-line is really funny for a reason, but I can respect an artist who embraces a new generation of hip-hop. And I feel like a big reason why you're seeing artists like Lotto, Flo Milli, Glorilla, all these artists come up is because Cardi B embraces that side of hip-hop, and in that sense, she is kind of the queen of rap right now. I still think her music is severely overrated, but I also do think that she's popular for a reason. She's good at what she does and clearly loves doing it, so I can't really hate that. Now there is that conversation of whether or not she deserves that praise, but her influence can't be denied. And in a way, I found a new appreciation for her music researching this video. Am I the Drama still mid as shit though. I don't usually talk to her in the outro, but I want to quickly thank some people real quick. I want to thank the Urkins, specifically these two. They kind of helped me figure out what I wanted to say for this video, so I appreciate you both. I also want to give a shout out to everyone who voiced in this video. Everyone will be credited in the description down below, and I will leave a link to the Urkham Empire in case you want to join that Discord in the description down below. I also take this time to thank you for 300 subscribers. It actually blows my mind that we've been moving in record time, because it feels like yesterday we just hit 200 subscribers. Then the following day we just hit 300 subscribers, and now we're at 340. I love the fact that I have a channel where I feel like I can talk about whatever I want to and just have an audience to listen to. I know to many people 300 isn't a lot, but like, I didn't think I would get this far till like next year, dude. All I'm saying is thank you. I would not make this far without you, and I'll see you next video.